long ago in your terms of time, even though everything happens simultaneously, we're going to tell this story in linear fashion. In the ancient Orion systems, millions of your years ago, there was a world of great suppression, where the majority of the population were in many ways enslaved and ruled over by a troika of domineering individuals. There was a resistance movement to this that translates as the Black League, which is actually simply a reference to the idea of hiding in the shadows. They attempted to fight back, but since they were using fire to fight fire, they were eventually overwhelmed and did not succeed in changing the fate of their world. Many souls from that time, looking to transform the energy that was so dark and so negative, sought the idea of a place where such transformation could occur. When, millions of years later, because time is relative to the soul, the Anunnaki arrived on your world and through genetic manipulation began to create from the hominid that naturally evolved the beings you now find yourselves to be, Homo sapiens, as the result of that genetic manipulation by the extraterrestrial beings known as the Anunnaki, which, by the way, come from a planet in the constellation you know as Cygnus. The idea of what has been called Nibiru was simply a way station in your solar system. It is not their origin point. Nevertheless, their world was compromised ecologically, and they were seeking to correct an imbalance by mining the substance you call gold. For in atomizing it and spreading it into the atmosphere, it would reflect solar radiation sufficiently to bring balance back into the climate changes that were severe and shifting on their world. And so they came to Earth and found that the task was beyond them after a while, and so invented the idea of workers to help them, which is you. Now, they were not supposed to do that, according to the general Anunnaki laws, and so they were recalled. But the idea that they were then given was that they had, along with others, the task from that point forward of guiding humanity in its new sentiency, in its new expression of self, forward, so that you could grow, you could learn, despite the fact that they had included in your genetic makeup some things that didn't necessarily immediately allow you the same evolutionary path that they had taken, even though you were made in their image. Now, once the human form was created, the souls of Orion knew they had some place they could go, because Earth was seen and experienced, as it is still today, as a place of cycles, where things go around and come around and come around and come around. Colloquially speaking, then, if you want to put it in your modern language, they recognized Earth as a do-over planet. That you would always get another chance, and another chance, and another chance, and another chance to work through the energies of darkness and bring them into light. But it's a little bit more complex than that. For again, over time, the souls first and foremost came into the solar system. And the first world they occupied is what you now recognize as the asteroid belt that was a planet called Maldek, which was destroyed because they didn't quite work the cycle out. And there was still a lot of conflict, still a lot of negativity, and ultimately it destroyed the planet, turning it into your asteroid belt. Now, Many people did not understand that millions of years ago, not only Earth, but Mars and Maldek were habitable. Your sun, long ago, was slightly more massive than it is now, and slightly hotter, and had slightly higher gravitation, pulling the planets in a little bit closer into what you call the habitable or Goldilocks zone, as your scientists say. So all 3 planets were habitable at that time. And so the souls began first and foremost to incarnate into the evolutionary beings on Maldek, and as we said, that didn't necessarily turn out as they planned. Next, they went to Mars and began to create the idea of habitation there in the life forms that naturally evolved upon that planet. Eventually, again, not quite having worked everything out, they created a vibration that allowed for a giant asteroidal impact to blow off the atmosphere of the planet. Now, there are still some primitive life forms on that planet, which you will discover soon enough. But the idea then became that the Earth was the only planet left in the solar system, whereby they could once again start up the cycle after the Anunnaki had created Homo sapien, and they found a home here on your world in terms of soul incarnation from Orion.
And the Homo sapien on your planet, after many different kinds of incarnational lifetimes, did allow itself to expand and explore the idea of creating civilizations that were similar to the galactic civilizations with whom they were interacting, and thus brought about some of the first and earliest civilizations on your planet, that which you call now in your faded memories, the idea of Shamballa, the ideas of Lemuria or Mu, the ideas of Atlantis, or in its original name, Aztlan. The idea being that as these civilizations were formed, each had a specific relationship to the vibration of the earth in a very different way than what you experience now on your planet. The idea of the ancient Shamballa, in what you call the ancient Gobi Desert now, was actually a lush paradise at that time, and was formed as a center of learning, a center of spiritual growth, to aid and assist the Homo sapien in refining their vibration to a very high level. And they learned through these techniques of meditation and so forth, where this was first formed, many different ideas that were downloaded from higher levels, higher planes, what you may even call the idea of source or Akashic records. In that sense, they were a very learned society. But the idea also is that they knew things would change as they expanded out over the world. There were also other extraterrestrial infusions from time to time, what you may call interbreedings, and again the creation of certain genetic lines on your planet that would be for the purpose of aiding and assisting the Homo sapien in vibrationally connecting to its higher self. But being what it is, Earth goes through cycles, and there have been many of what you call cataclysms on the Earth that many times have wiped the slate almost clean of a variety of civilizations, to begin from a different point, to begin from a different perspective. And thus then also was Lemuria or Mu in the original language created once again by Homo sapiens. But this time you will find that they were slightly different, having now more of the genetic lines of different ancient alien societies. They were functioning in a very different way, telepathically, very, very intuitively connected to the earth. The idea being they had, in that sense, no real written language per se, except for a few simple symbols. But the idea is that they were highly telepathic, highly emotional, highly intuitive, very fundamentally natural in the same way that you now consider many of your animals to be, even though they are also intelligent in their own way. Lemurians or Muans in that sense were also slightly blue-tinged as representative of the idea of the extraterrestrial race to whom they were genetically connected. And once again, through the idea of many of the cataclysms that broke up some of the Southeast Asian land masses that formed the extension of the Asian continent into what you call the Pacific realm that was the area of Mu. As it broke up in that sense, many excursions were taken across the planet, many migrations were taken across the planet to create many other civilizations, some of which are the roots of some of the civilizations you are familiar with now. But one in particular would be what you call the American Indian or Native American or indigenous people societies of the North American continent and the African continent and so on and so forth, which progressed onto the area now in what you call your Atlantic Ocean, your southern part of what the area is that you now call the Caribbean area. That was the idea of the Atlantean area, that which now has land masses which are sunken under the ocean, which you now call the idea of the Bahamas and the Grand Bahama Banks and Cuba and part of what you call Florida and many of the submerged islands in that area all together, being above the water in those times in what you call your last ice age, presented the land mass that was the seat of government of the Atlantean civilization. And again, there was trade with what you call the Asian and now Eurasian and European continents and the South American areas. And they were mostly now remembered through the civilization or similar to the civilization that you now understand as Aztecan and Mayan and Olmec and a Mixtec and many of these. Again, cataclysms occurred that pretty much wiped the slate clean, and this from the idea of what you now have come to recognize as cometary or asteroidal bombardment. The idea of the comet that, in your terms, crashed into the Atlantic Ocean and caused a tsunami that washed over the Atlantean land mass and parts of your eastern seaboard and South America and Europe and Africa, and in that sense wiped that civilization from the earth. All but the memory, but there are a few storehouses of knowledge that do remain, for they did have a written language, and these have yet to be found.
But you see, again, it's a little busier than that. Because not only, then, is Earth the recycling planet for the ancient Orion story and journey of transformation, it is also the recycling planet for the Anunnaki journey and transformation because of what they had done, creating the stories of the fallen angels in your scriptures. These were the Anunnaki who had done what they shouldn't have done according to their own laws and were tasked with the idea then of guiding humans through the idea of their beginnings, of their journey on earth. But it's even a little bit more busy than that. For you see, not only then do you have the idea of the ancient Orion recycling, the Anunnaki recycling, you have the Maldek recycling, the Martian recycling on Earth, and then when you have the parallel reality Earth that destroyed itself, creating the Greys, who came through to use your DNA to create us hybrids to allow their culture to continue, you have that particular journey of recycling and transformation as well going on Earth, playing itself out, all of these things coming together, playing themselves out on Earth, again through various cycles of build-up and destruction, build-up and destruction, build-up and destruction, from Lemuria to Atlantis to the ideas you express as your world wars. These are all recapitulations of the combination of all these things playing out, overlapping, all these stories and all these journeys of transformation going on right here in the grand central station of recycling, Earth. But now, with all of this coming together, all coming to a head, all coming to a point in the cycles that are occurring on your planet now, is the great opportunity beginning in your year of 2020 to really begin to break the chains of the old cycles and transform the ancient energy from darkness to light, allowing each and every one of you who walk that path and absorb and accept and allow that energy of transformation in to become the angels of Orion and end the cycle and begin a new one of prosperity and peace and beauty and creativity and love that will expand into the Earth becoming the sixth hybrid race, and then blend with the others to become the seventh, that will allow for a radiant energy of light to go out into the cosmos and allow Earth to become a stable beacon of energy, rather than one that recycles itself over and over and over again. So this is the birth, not only of a different Earth, but of an entirely new chapter in the idea of what Earth represents to the rest of the galaxy and the cosmos, in terms of the kind of energy it can begin to radiate to act as a stabilizing beacon for many other beings who may then ultimately have their own journeys of recycling, their own transformations to experience and partake in, and then looking to Earth to shine, even as you now look to the brightest star in the sky of Sirius, to act as a beacon to guide you into your higher selves, your better selves, to become truly fully realized and allow all the genetic markers within you from ancient times to finally open up, to allow you to express the fullness of your being and to allow you to become a member of the Interstellar Alliance in full form, that becomes a beacon, a bright shining star in the sky for millions of years to come. Does that sound like a good story? All right. So begin to awaken to the fact that all of these different journeys of recycling and transformation are overlapping now. And you can become, not only as a country, but as a world, the transformation nation. Allow yourselves to know you are innately transformers, allowing the energy to flow through you in such a way that as you then add the vibration of love and light to it, can allow it to turn into eternal light, eternal guidance, and eternal beacon that others can also allow into themselves to ignite the spark of awareness within them. We thank you all for choosing to be strong enough to play these roles, for knowing that Earth was an exciting place to be at this time, and for partaking in this journey of transformation, in this glorious transformative story. You are potentially very, very, very powerful. And in your transformation, others will see that even though all of these journeys have overlapped on your world, with all of the story that they have brought with them of oppression and negativity and darkness from so many different directions, they still knew that because of the cyclic nature of your reality, that they would have a chance again and again and again and again to bring it to this point. And now you are at this point. We thank you for allowing us to share this story and multitude of stories that you contain with you at this time. So when you look in a mirror, do not just see the idea of a single Earth human, but millions upon billions of individuals amalgamated within each of you, each telling their own stories, bringing them to this world to transform them, ultimately through those that live today. You have inherited, you are the heirs of this legacy.
All right, I'll say good day. This transmission has been titled Matters of the Heart, in honor of your February month, your Valentine holiday. And since we will be talking about matters of the heart, let us get to the heart of the matter. First of all, the physicalness. Your heart, as you know, beats to pump your blood through your veins and arteries around your body, circulating oxygen to your systems so they may absorb it and thrive and function properly. Let's draw an analogy between that system, the circulatory system of your body, and the circulatory system of the earth. You know that deep within your planet, you have a circulatory system of molten metal. As this molten metal moves around underneath the ground of your world, this is what generates the electromagnetic field of your planet. Likewise, your blood, your body contains a certain amount of iron. And the idea is that as it moves around your body, similarly, it also is to some degree responsible for amplifying and magnifying and producing the electromagnetic field that extends from your body. As you allow yourself more clarity, more refinement in your physical form, as you remove toxins from your system that may interfere with this process of your blood circulation, this electromagnetic field becomes more and more refined and extends farther and farther from your body. The strongest component of it is the heartbeat itself, or when the blood arrives in the heart, containing all of that iron. And with every heartbeat, you send out an electromagnetic bubble that expands from your body, all of you, and immerse each other in these electromagnetic connective bubbles. So that one heart literally talks to all the others, and you are immersed in the electromagnetic bubbles of all the other hearts. This allows for amplification of the communication non-verbally between you, allows for greater consistency and refinement and precision in your telepathic contacts with one another, which again is why we say telepathy instead of telepathy, because the empathy underscores the emotional component of the heart, the emotional intelligence of the heart that communicates with every beat to every other heart on the planet. You are living, expanding bubbles of electromagnetic energy that expand and issue from the heart with every single beat, in constant connection and communication with one another. Now, as you refine your physical form, as you ascend, as you accelerate your vibration, uplift your frequency, these heartbeats become even more powerful. The electromagnetic or auric field around your body becomes highly sensitive to higher frequency energies from other dimensions, including the spirit realm. And so again, as your frequency rises, not only do you have better connections among yourselves physically on the planet, you have much stronger ability to connect and receive information from the spirit realm as well. So it is with the opening of the heart, the acceleration of your vibration, the upliftment of your frequency, that you will not only connect with all physical beings on your planet, not just humans, but all physical beings, but also connect with the spirit realm more consciously and have more awareness of their communications to you that come through electromagnetic energy. The electromagnetic field of your planet that you are immersed in, again, allows you to align with it by accelerating your frequency, creating the entire planet in that sense to be a beacon, to be a receiver of spirit realm energy, higher dimensional energies, extraterrestrial energies that operate on higher frequencies. So when you are all aligned in that sense in the future, you will find that you will open up gateways, lines of communication to dimensions you had no idea existed. You will be able to receive information from many different levels of reality. And this will become the norm as we experience it on our world,
We commune with spirits and extra-dimensional beings every day, all the time. It is part of our natural reality to know that this information exists, can be received and tapped into at any given moment when you're operating on that frequency from the highest levels of the heart. So you will eventually get used to the idea of walking through a dreamlike world, just as we do, where the heart really is what gives you the opportunity to know how much there is you are not seeing now, not experiencing now. You're only experiencing a relatively thin slice of reality, even of your own reality. But when you open your heart, all those gateways, all those doorways, all those windows will begin to open as well, and you will see how much richer your reality truly is. Now, with regard to energetic communication with your own higher mind, the heart is absolutely crucial in this process, because the higher mind, again, speaks in the language of energy, sends energy of certain frequencies to you, which your physical mind translates into the sensation of passion. But the reason it does this is because the heart is specifically tuned to the vibration of the higher mind in its natural state. Therefore, the reason that your physical body translates the messages, the communications from your higher mind, as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and unconditional love, is because the heart is what's actually directly receiving the core communication from the higher mind and filling your body with that vibration. Now, of course, it can be filtered through the belief systems of the physical mind that can allow it not necessarily to be experienced in its pure form, its pure unconditional loving form. And that is why it is so important to get a hold of your belief systems, to consciously be aware of them. Let go of the fear-based ones that prevent you from experiencing the pure core vibration transmission from your higher mind that is bounced back to the physical mind by the heart with every beat as a guiding mechanism to say, align with this, align with this, align with this. This is your truth. This is your truth. This is your truth. So the idea is that you're constantly being given an opportunity to let go and zero back to your natural state with literally every beat of your heart reflecting to you like a drum the vibration, the core vibration of your higher mind in its natural state. And it gives you the opportunity to guide yourself in letting those negative beliefs go so that your physical mind can also align and be transparent to those vibrations that are bouncing from the heart into the physical mind that are representative of the core communication of the higher mind. And that way you can move forward in physical reality, in love, in passion. This is why it translates as passion, because it is filtering through or bouncing back from the heart to your physical mind that only understands that vibration really when it aligns with it as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and love. So take the cue not only from the higher mind, but from what the heartbeat, every heartbeat is reflecting to you. That passion, that curiosity, that excitement, that freedom, that love is truly your core frequency, your natural state. And move forward, choose to move forward in that way. And you will be at one, at peace, in total freedom and joy, in love, by listening to your heart, which has its own mind, in a sense, connecting to the higher mind. And between the two, with the physical mind in the center, between those two, you can be guided to remember your true self and live a life of pure love, joy, creativity, and harmony by being the true individuals that you each are, that you were created to be. That is your path in life. In this month that you honor the idea of love and the heart, in February and your Valentine's Day, and reach out also to all the different peoples and all the differences on your world in a loving way, to incorporate and embrace everyone in their own truth and free them from their own limitations by being the living examples of someone living their truth, living from their heart and head in unison, in harmony and higher mind. Do so not only in this month, but in every month and in every year. And you will change your frequencies and navigate yourselves to the versions of Earth that already coexist that are far more representative of the heart of love and the experience of ecstasy and joy. So, we thank you for allowing us to share this heartfelt message with you. And in return, we ask, in what way now may we be of service to you? You may begin, if you wish, with your questions and comments.
Good day.
Good day, Bashar. I have three. Thank you. Three people I'm working with that I would like some help with.
People that you are working with.
Yes.
In what capacity?
There's a child with an autistic condition.
Yes.
I have facilitated a repair in the magnetic field.
In what way? By what methodology?
I would say it would be through the help of William Gray.
And
I get the indication that the repair is in progress.
to some degree, you have accelerated certain ideas, but there may need to be further adjustments, further experiences that will allow for a full knitting to occur.
All right. Now, I get that 70% of the problem with a child has to do with the magnetic field.
Well, that may be an effect that may be reinforcing the initial causations. It is not the initial cause, per se.
No.
But it is an effect that does need balancing so that it does not continue to reinforce and amplify the condition, yes.
And that there is a metabolic condition that can be addressed with...
Yes. But what about the emotional ones?
Yes.
What are you doing for that? Or what is being done for that by someone?
This is an area that I'm perplexed about relative to the child directly.
Why? Are you allowed to hold the child?
The child voluntarily touched me. I think I might be able to.
This will be a sign of reparation, and the more that the physical contact can occur, then there will be an acceleration of reparation as well.
Very good. Very good. My most exasperating case is seated beside me on my...
Exasperating?
Yes.
Do you mean exciting?
That too.
It is one or the other at any given moment, not both.
Yes, that's altogether true.
Why, thank you.
There is a persistent cough.
Yes.
It is perhaps that I'm not the one to be addressing the issue. We have attempted many things.
Such as?
Dietary changes. My gosh, so many.
What about locational shift?
Really?
Where does this person really want to be?
Aha.
Explore the idea that they may feel they are being subjected to an environment that is not conducive to their being. Explore that and see what happens, what
Yes.
comes up.
Yes.
All right?
And the third one.
Yes.
Lady called me from Los Angeles, who's been dabbling, for quite a number of years, has been
Dabbling, experimenting.
undertaking work with Kundalini Yoga
Yes.
without guidance.
Without any guidance whatsoever that you know of.
She's largely, this is what she says.
Yes. And so?
And sure, she's being overwhelmed by energies.
Overwhelmed!
Yes.
She must find that exciting then.
She finds it very uncomfortable.
I see. In your assessment, without judgment, would you consider this individual to be, to some degree in your terms, say, somewhat melodramatic?
That's a possibility I haven't considered. There seems to be a very considerable cost to her for this, for what's occurring.
Cost?
Physically.
In what terms?
Being incapacitated for considerable periods of time.
And the question again,
Yes.
asked in a different way,
Yes.
what does this individual get out of being overwhelmed and incapacitated?
This I need to investigate.
Yes. Find out what the individual may believe is the benefit to appearing to function as an incapacitated and overwhelmed individual. Find out what would be considered an advantage to be in that state. Then you will have a key that you can turn.
Thank you very much.
Does that help you?
It helps a lot.
Thank you.
Bashar?
You.
First I wanted to thank you for the last time that we spoke like this,
All right, thank you. As well.
for being such a perfect mirror
Thank
to
you.
me. I realized I was being really hard on myself.
Oh, all right.
And thanks for playing that role out with me.
My pleasure.
I can't explain it, but the love I felt led me to understand the mirror, but
Guys,
I know that, I don't know. I just want to thank you.
thank you
'Cause I know
for
it's
choosing
not-
to be more of yourself. We also appreciate it greatly. Anytime each and every one of you makes a choice to be more of yourself, to us, the energy, just as an analogy, is the finest wine. You follow?
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yes, I follow.
To your health.
I was following and I had to be called because I have a few questions actually.
Yes. Proceed. Uncork and proceed. Pour
You
yourself
mean
out.
drain? Ooze?
Yes, if you wish.
About 2 months ago,
And the Oz.
the only way I'm just going to use words, but I don't know if I'm going to explain this properly, but
Well, you've used a sufficient amount of them explaining that you're trying to explain, so
Well-
why not just continue?
I will.
Thank you.
The only thing I can describe the experience is that I fell into my heart
All right.
as far as
That's poetic.
when
and
yeah,
apt.
I know. It sounds trite, but
Why? It is poetic and apt.
okay. I hear you.
Thank you.
And I would say shortly after that, I started falling. It would like go from my mind to my heart and then into my navel.
Yes. Connecting
And-
the chakras.
Yeah, but what happened about 2.5 weeks ago,
Yes.
my mom had a heart attack,
Yes.
or a heart awakening, as I told her it was.
All right.
And at the time I got the call, I was in a very deep meditation.
Yes.
So, and I've been around heart patients, so it didn't scare me. But my will just came so forward.
All right.
And for about 2 weeks, monitoring it from here and then going to be with her,
Yes.
it affected like everyone I came in contact with.
Yes.
And I have a question about will. I mean, it was interesting because intuitively I just pulled out Castanada's books again.
Oh, all right.
What I was experiencing during that time was it was so multidimensional and there were so many people being affected,
Yes.
and somehow I was monitoring it,
Yes.
that I needed more information on how to run my physical energy. And you know how Castaneda talks about the assemblage point
Yes.
and that type of thing.
Yes.
And he does say somewhere in there that why he likes the little smoke is because this type of energy actually fries your body, is hard on the body. Which
That
I don't,
depends.
Which I don't believe, but I was
It
experiencing.
is, shall we say, to some degree capable of creating the experience of burnout if the intention is not clear.
Mm-hmm.
But if the intention is, no burnout occurs. Nothing is hard on the body in that way.
Right. I found myself tired in a certain way, but still having a lot of energy to keep it going.
Yes.
And so what I was wondering was if there was, since you're a physiological being, if there's
Yes.
any type of technique of working the energy in your body other than breathing or getting body work or doing yoga or
Yes.
that you can share.
Yes.
Thank you.
You will find that one very valuable and very quick technique for aligning the intention, grounding the self, and bringing all the chakras into shining agreement, will be what you will witness in the beginning stances, the physical stances, or the positions adopted by what on your planet are classically referred to as sumo wrestlers.
Okay.
If you will observe the ritual of how they first will plant one foot and then the other foot with hands on thighs, with the accompanying sound from the gut, from the belly, from the throat, all in alignment, you will find that this will be a very aligning, purifying, cleansing, and clarifying technique. Then with the idea of allowing yourself to meet head-on whatever is coming at you energetically, but at that point then being not confrontive, but completely synchronized and meshed with the frequency of the energy, you and the energy will become one, there will be no difference, and you will find yourself standing stronger than before.
Yeah, I actually had that experience.
Oh, well, thank
Somehow I knew to see no conflict, and there were a lot of conflicting things.
Yes. In old labels,
especially
yes.
with people being really afraid about
Yes.
it and not understanding why I didn't jump on a plane immediately.
Yes. Well, this is in ancient language on your planet called the warrior's stance, the warrior's secret.
Mm-hmm.
And you instinctively know it because you have been a warrior several times.
Yeah, I guess I don't really relate to it as in a warrior sense, but
We are simply using
Yes.
the old term.
Is Castaneda put out some videos where they show the exercises? I think it's called Ten's Integrity or something like that. Tensegrity.
Yes.
Is that...
There is a similarity to tensegrity. It is not identical, but there is a similarity, and tensegrity is to some degree based and an offshoot of the very simplistic example we have already just given you.
Okay. Would it be better just to stick with sumo wrestling?
That's
or
up to you.
Could I combine?
You can do that, or you can
Well,
create any combination of these ideas that work
Right.
best for you in your present assessment of who and what you are.
Okay, I had one more question.
Yes.
In one of the little stories in, I think it was called, it was a separate reality, Don Gennaro is displaying to Carlos moving around a waterfall.
Yes.
And he throws some beams out from his assemblage point at his navel
Yes.
onto like a little rock.
Yes.
And he wraps the beams around the rock so he can then stand on this rock. Is that, I don't know. I always have a little problem with doing stuff like that because I feel like it's manipulating energy.
You are manipulating energy
anyway,
in a sense,
right?
but you don't have to use the word manipulating if that
Right.
has a negative connotation to you.
Well, I was wondering if how to create from the navel point, which do you start thinking of throwing out beams to things you want?
You can do it that way. There are a number of ways, and again, one of the things we have just told you is one of the ways that you do that. But in that sense, you are more likely throwing your entire attention out rather than singling it down to a single beam from the navel point. In a sense, you become the navel point. You become also the solar plexus. You become every chakra simultaneously in what we have already described as the seed form of what you have referred to.
Great.
But again, that is all a euphemism. For again, what you're really doing is making what appears to be out there your own in here. So in that sense, it's not really a manipulation. It is a true, shall we say, recognition and quote-unquote ownership.
Okay, I guess like a lot of these things do happen naturally under,
Yes.
like you said earlier, that
Yes.
intense desire. But since it's presenting itself a lot,
Right?
and my balance sometimes is getting thrown off, I was just wondering if that was something that was a valid way, but this warrior stance sounds
More fun.
like it's more up my alley.
All right. Then by all means, go up your alley.
And then I wanted, with the questions about remote viewing,
Yes.
so you're saying it's resonance. I know that
Yes.
there have been times where I could feel people coming to see me,
Yes.
And, you know...
It still requires
music-
resonance identification
when
to
it's-
have that experience.
So if I don't want them there, I just shift my resonance, and a lot of times they can't follow me.
Well,
Is
in a
that-
sense,
is that
you
an
simply may
accurate-
not perceive them in your reality domain, although they
Right.
may perceive a version of you in theirs.
Right. Although, unless they're really good, because there was one really good person who could jump around with
They
me
may
for a while.
simply be capable of allowing themselves to have a
But-
broader spectrum
Right.
of accessibility in terms of resonance identification.
So is
Yeah.
that one way, though, to, let's say, you felt it was an intrusion? Could you just shift is that an accurate way of getting them off your back, so to speak, is by shifting your resonance?
Yes.
Okay.
But again, also examine the idea of, first of all, of course, whether or not it actually truly is an intrusion, or whether you have, in that sense, simply been given an opportunity to understand that your particular frequency may not be on a level that you prefer it to be on. And you may be being given the gift of being shown that, so that then in switching it, you have the opportunity to thank them for showing you what level it was vibrating on.
Yeah, I've had that experience under, I guess, psychic attack, if you want to call it that.
Well, so to
where
speak.
I just I'm not going to fight this person. What a waste of energy. I would
Yes.
just shift my energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You, and then you, and then you. Number 2, do you know who you are? Number 3, do you? Number 1, good day.
Hi, Bashar. Bashar,
Yes.
I'd like to go back to what we talked about in our last session about Moses.
Moses.
Yeah. I'm still a little confused. I'm sorry I'm a little slow. Maybe you could explain to me better the relationship between Moses and Moses
Yes.
and the aliens.
You know, like Ramses?
Exactly.
Moses. It
Okay.
is an ancient Egyptian name, not Moses. Moses.
Okay. And what the relationship between Moses,
Yes.
the aliens, and the alien craft that that created the parting of the Red Sea, and what the significance was of that event.
Oh, all right. One moment. The relationship on certain levels is as follows, and this is not necessarily every level. Number 1. It is generally recognized and understood that what you call the Hebrew nation is to some degree one of the offshoots of an ancient Orion stream that in the original Orion language is Chuva. In the influx of incarnations upon your planet that ultimately resulted in what you would call the Hebraic and Arabic and various offshoot other similar nations, there was the recognition of a new influx of this energy on your planet that required, shall we say, arrangement in your society, that things needed to be arranged, moved around, so that the proper energy dynamic would be created that would set up certain circumstances for what you would call the evolution of your planet, that certain societies, certain energies, certain thought forms, certain beliefs, certain cultures needed to move here or there, to cross-pollinate in certain ways, to inhabit certain areas, to bring energy to certain areas, to allow there to be more balance, ultimately. In this way, this was recognized as the Moses being an ancient leader and connected to, incarnationally and vibrationally, the beings in the craft, in that sense, familially, to some degree, also to some degree genetically. And the idea then is that they assisted in relocating the vibration of that particular culture on your planet for the ultimate future consequences that would result, or at least were available to result, from the spreading out and mixing up of those genes, that energy, those thoughts, those ideas, those points of view. And so there was, at that time, because of the nature of that time, being what it was, the ability to be open in direct communication, more or less, and to guide, to relocate that culture in a different place on your planet for the overall human agenda as it needed to be played out on the earth with regard to the mixing in of new energies, new incarnational energies. You follow?
Yes. You know, we've also discussed before a long time ago that also part of the reason of the negativity here on this planet is not only the polarity and the densification of our atmosphere, but also because of incarnations from the Orion constellation. So I'm wondering, is a lot of this because of what was created here, there was somewhat of a responsibility that was taken on by some alien races, and in fact even Moses was a representation of that, and that he was actually trying to help to correct that as much as possible.
Though he was not informed of the entire agenda, at least not in terminology that was understood by the extraterrestrials. Yes. A little bit different, but somewhat. For the purposes of the illustration, yes, it is sufficient.
I'd like to move in another area if that's okay.
Do you wish us to part any seas for you?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, all right.
Are there reptilians involved with the Galactic Federation?
No,
Why
not
not?
directly. No.
Why not?
It is, in that sense, not who they are. It is, in that sense, not their vibration to be. They are not, in that sense, a cohesive civilization, as you would understand that, in the way that is representative of those that are in what we call the Association of Worlds. It is, in a sense, an attached civilization, energetically, a limbic offshoot of the Grey civilization, genetically engineered, and part of the collective consciousness of the Greys that represents their primal level. In that sense, they do not function as a cohesive civilization, but as an appendage to another civilization. You follow?
Yes, that makes sense, too. So basically, maybe, I know this isn't a very good way of wording this, but so they kind of almost didn't evolve exactly they were initially intended to evolve in.
Again, the idea is that they were one of the first genetic manipulations derived from what you would call the dinosaur DNA on your world before the creation of the genetic manipulation of the hominid DNA that led to the human body.
Yes, we discussed that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I got a couple more for you.
All right.
You've said that your race of beings are a hybrid of us and the Greys, correct?
Generally, yes.
Were you initially created, maybe not in the final results, but here on this planet?
Not so much, no. The idea being that most of our ancestors were finalized in their form in what you would call spacecraft, not actually on your planet. Though, again, genetic material was derived from your planet.
Was it within our solar system?
Yes, sometimes not.
Initially, I mean like right off the bat.
Off the bat.
Right off the bat.
There were stations that were set up in your solar system for the initiation of the hybridization experimentations, yes. And at the same time, on spacecraft that traveled out of your solar system as well.
Okay,
but not exactly on your planet, except in some rare instances where certain adjustments needed to be made, and it was deemed necessary that they needed to be made within the planetary environment, within the planetary gravity, within the planetary atmosphere, in order to give the genetic spin what it needed to have. But those are long over with in your term.
Okay, Bashar, are there any Anunnaki either here physically on Earth or communicating telepathically with anyone here?
Not in their original form contemporarily, unless you are referring to the Greys as the devolved result of a certain branch of Anunnaki.
Okay.
Did you understand that already?
Yeah, somewhat. Maybe another faction then.
A faction of the Anunnaki set up shop, if you will, on a planet, and ultimately created catastrophes in their world that ultimately resulted in the devolution of themselves into the form you now understand as the Gray.
Right, I actually knew that. Okay.
So in that sense, they are still, to some degree, Anunnaki, though they now require the idea of the genetic material that they utilize to create the human body to begin with to reinforce their own race and create the hybrid species so that they can incarnationally continue. So in that sense, I suppose if you want to simply talk about it incarnationally, you and we together are also offshoots of Anunnaki.
Yes, exactly.
At least to some degree genetically.
Are there any, maybe looking at it from a time-traveling standpoint, although we know there's no time really linearly, but...
There is if you create there
if you
to
create
be time.
It, exactly. Yes. But are there any ones from what we would perceive from our past that are here now that have,
from
say,
time
jumped?
to time, they do peer in, yes. From time to time, they have participated in certain things, yes. It is not that common. From time to time, this has been done, yes. It is not that common.
Okay. And when
some of what individuals have called the large Nordics are to some degree representative of some of the ancient Anunnakis. You follow?
Yes, I've heard you say that before.
Yes. Does that help you?
One more question, please.
Oh, all right.
Is there anything, Bashar, that you think that either I personally or people in generally should not remote view because it could harm us, or maybe we're not ready to see it?
We will leave that up to you and your own spontaneity. And also to what you want to believe to be true.
Well, I believe...
End of conversation.
Yeah, well, I think you already know.
End of conversation. Number 2. You, however, can be number 4.
Sure, I was...
Good day.
Good day. I was very inspired by what you had to say at the beginning.
Oh, all right.
And I'm looking for some assistance in...
A swift kick.
Okay. In getting to a place where I can follow my bliss.
Getting to a place where you can follow your bliss. You can't get there if you're not already following your bliss.
How do I know what my bliss is?
Non-bliss does not lead to bliss. Only bliss leads to bliss. So, unless you are blissful where you are, which doesn't mean you have to necessarily prefer the circumstances, but you have to know that they're there for a blissful reason and can be used in a blissful way, then you can never allow yourself to experience any other bliss because you have to be in a blissful state in order to bring in more bliss. Like attracts like. How do you find your bliss? It's simple. You simply start simply if you find it too complex any other way, and look at all the options and opportunities that are available to you to act on at any given moment, and simply ask yourself, out of all these things I could do, which has the highest degree of excitement that I'm capable of taking an action on, and when you determine what that might be, act on it. That's all you have to do. That is what is meant by acting on your bliss.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Are you willing to allow it to be that simple so that it can become not more complicated, but more complex and rich?
Am I willing?
Yes, are you willing?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I would like some assistance with the fear about taking action.
Fear of taking action.
All
right. Fear of taking action, you mean in the direction of what you recognize as your bliss?
Or anything I would
because
love to do.
Because obviously you are taking actions all the time, so obviously you're not afraid of taking all actions, or you would be completely inactive and inoperative.
Correct.
You would be in a coma.
Which I'm not.
All right, thank you. So obviously you are all right with taking some actions, yes? Right. Yeah. So the fear that you are referring to has to do with certain specific actions then? Is that what you are intimating?
It would seem to be saying I love to do this and go doing it despite my...
Despite what?
my own preconceptions about what I should be doing, how I should be earning a living,
Yes.
where I should be living, the
Yes.
relationships I should be having.
I see. And so?
I'm shitting all over myself.
Yes. And what do you get out of doing that? How does it serve you to do that?
I don't have to risk.
Why do you define these things as risk in the negative sense?
Because they can be scary.
You
For me.
are being circular in your logic. You are saying, I will not risk because they are scary, and they are scary because I will not risk. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, you are being circular in your logic. You are trapping yourself in a loop. What do you get out of defining being yourself as somehow being negatively risky? What do you get out of that?
We have discussed along this notion of living in the moment the idea that what you choose your state of being to be is of paramount importance. State of being is the most critical issue, which is why in The Secret it was mentioned that the secret to the secret was simply choosing to be happy. For no other reason other than that is your preferred state of being. Because there is no empirical physical reality, then state of being really becomes the only thing that determines the experience that you have in the idea of physical reality, because that's all it is. It's an experience, it's an idea. That is what is real about it, the experience. But physical reality itself is not real by itself on its own. As you choose the state of being that you prefer, or based on whatever beliefs you have within your physiological mind, personality, structure, as you choose beliefs that determine what your state of being will be, that, of course, is what determines how you experience this idea of yourself called physical reality. Because that's all it is. It's an experience of your own consciousness from a particular point of view, from a particular state of being that generates that kind of an effect within you, that you then call an externalized physical reality. Circumstances in physical reality, thus, are illusionary. They're just symbols. Again, as we have said many times, it's just a reflection based on what you are giving off. Now, The Secret calls this idea, law of attraction, the primary law. We refer to it as the third law of creation. It is, however, the first law of action, even within the four laws. Because the first law, that you exist, is simply a description of a state of being. The second law, that the one is all, the all are one, is also a description of the nature, of the structure of that state of being. But the third law, what you put out is what you get back, is the first law of action. And that is what is being said and the difference being made in The Secret by calling the law of attraction the first or primary law of the universe. Because it is the first law of action, and it's therefore the first law that actually brings about manifestational experience. Then the fourth law, everything changes except the first three laws, is what qualifies and colors that experience, what allows you different perspectives of the experience of creating the idea of physical reality. You will remember
that what was also very important in the secret was this idea that we talked about before about being passionate, as expressed in the concept of play, of playing with everything that happens in your reality, really having an attitude of gratitude toward it so that you receive every experience you have in a playful way, and thus by receiving it in that playful way can do that much more with it, be that much more creative with it, allow it to be that much more flexible, malleable, stretchable, changeable, formable. Play. That energy is what allows physical reality to become like clay. So play with the clay of physical reality. If you approach it from an energy state of being that is of a lower vibration, that's when the clay hardens. That's when it's unchanging in that state. But as soon as you start to be more playful with what's going on in your life, it softens and becomes clay-like, plastic, malleable, formable, changeable again, and gets in step with the fourth law, as you do. Change is the only constant. So in that sense, when you become more playful, you become more changeable. And as a result, your physical reality will mirror that changeability. Become easier to transform from one kind of reflection to another. Now, very important. This is where physical mind, once again, can sometimes get caught up in its own sense of control. And that is that when we talk about the idea that what you put out is what you get back, the physical mind, because, again, of how it looks at physical reality being the only thing there is, will assume that if it doesn't see an exact one-to-one reflection in the circumstances that surround you with what it is you believe you're giving off, you will think that something has failed. Again, I remind you, this is where you get caught in your own paradoxical trap. Even though it is true that what you put out is what you get back, and that by being in a certain state of being, that will determine what the circumstances around you are, the first stage of that, the first manifestation of that will be usually, especially in your world of space and time, usually the first reflection will look the same as it used to. Because this gives you an opportunity to reinforce the state of being by responding to the circumstances that look the same differently than you did before. And that is where you then allow the circumstances to truly reflect that you have changed and demonstrate that you truly have changed by responding to the circumstances differently, even if they look the same as they used to. That's how it works. So the first reflection will usually be an echo of how it used to look. You must not respond to the echo as if that's the representation of your new state. You must respond to it, in a sense, as if you know it's just an echo, and that what you're putting out now, the new response to the old circumstances, that will solidify the vibration of your preferred state of being and truly allow the circumstances to change themselves and take their cue from the new vibration you're putting out, which is the absolute certainty that you are different. Because if you respond to the old echo in the same way you used to, you are not different.
So in a sense, it's like you're testing yourself. It's like you're giving yourself an opportunity to decide whether you really do want the circumstances to change by first presenting yourself very often with the same set of circumstances to see if you respond differently to them, making a clear commitment that you have, in fact, vibrationally changed your state of being. Once you have then done that and respond differently to the same set of circumstances, then you have established that you truly have changed, and then the circumstances can reflect that change. So don't be fooled by the echo into thinking you've done something wrong by labeling it in the same way you used to. Oh, I didn't see what I wanted to get immediately. It looks the same as it did before. The same people are here giving me the same kind of feedback. I must have done something wrong, or something's not working. Or you find that you're reacting to it in the same way you used to, because if you do, you have not changed. So that's the self-reinforcing mechanism that gives you the opportunity to decide whether you really want to change that circumstance or not. Because again, remember, all belief systems by definition are self-reinforcing. They have to be. If belief systems were not self-reinforcing and making themselves seem like the only thing there is to believe in, you wouldn't be able to have an actual, distinct, discrete belief system experience. If beliefs did not come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, you wouldn't be able to have a discrete physical experience. And because they come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, when you change your vibrational state, one of the last things to fade will be the self-reinforcing mechanism. It will present the same scenario to you once again, but it will be presented not as a concrete reality, but only as an illusion, only as an echo of what was, to give you a chance to really decide that you will break through that self-reinforcing mechanism by defining and labeling it differently than you used to, proving that you have changed, thus allowing the reflection to then truly come. That's how that works. Use that mechanism to your advantage by understanding very clearly. And if you wish to use this almost as a mantra, you certainly may. Again, as we discussed last night, all of these things are nothing more than permission slips that, if you decide they work for you, if you decide they resonate according to your frequency, will simply allow you to permit yourself to change in the way you prefer to. The mantra doesn't do it for you. It simply is a reflection of the belief system within you that says this is what you will allow to give you permission, to give yourself permission to change in the way you wish to. So use this as a mantra if you wish, if it works for you, knowing that you're doing it if you need it at all. And that is, again, the idea, not even so much the statement that circumstances do not determine state of being. State of being determines circumstances. Now you can use that. However, we would also suggest something even simpler and something even stronger. And that is simply, and the mantra is this: circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And again, listen to the way that this synchronistically translates in your English language. Circumstances don't matter. They do not create materialization. Only state of being matters. Only state of being materializes experience. So, the mantra is, anytime you find yourself doubting, stuck, fearful, because of what you believe the situation is, what you believe the circumstances are, you can, if you wish, use this little reminder. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And then choose the state of being you prefer. And then redefine the circumstances from that state of being, so that you can erase the echo and allow the true reflection to then take form from your state of being. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. Now, we apologize if what we are about to do with you to some of your physical minds may sound, a little cultish. It isn't meant this way. It's simply meant to express to you something very important. It's one thing very often to your physical minds when you hear someone else's voice say something. It's another when your own voice says it. So, repeat out loud after me. Circumstances don't matter.
Circumstances don't matter.
Only my state of being matters.
Only my state of being matters.
Now, do it with excitement in a calm way. Because what this begets is simple certainty. Repeat. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. Understand. When you say this to yourself in your own vibrational voice, you will start to listen. Because what you're doing by making this statement is what we talked about earlier. You are voicing a message from the higher self in language the physical mind understands. This mantra and all mantras of this nature are exactly that kind of tool. It is a way of translating for the physical mind in terms it can understand a communication from the higher self. That's why they're powerful, if you agree that it's a permission slip that works for you. So, anytime you find yourself in doubt, in fear, confused about the circumstances going on, stop. Say to yourself, out loud, no matter how many people might think you're crazy. Yes, of course, yes, of course, yes, of course, you can say it inside your head if you wish to. But if you're really being bold, and if it's really important to you to have the reality you prefer, then make a commitment and say it out loud. You don't have to shout, you don't have to scream. But stop and say, circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer? Then choose. And as you choose, behave that way toward the circumstances. You will be amazed at how quickly it will evaporate. You will take people off guard. At the very least, they might say, "Oh, she's crazy," and move away. And then you won't have to deal with them anymore. So one way or another, it will create the bubble reality of your preferred vibration and will act as an organizing principle and driving engine to move out of that bubble any vibration that is incompatible. It is one of the strongest, most centering statements you can make for yourself. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer? Then behave that way. That's all there is to that idea of centering. That's all there is to the idea of redefining, re-identifying yourself and remaining on the cutting edge, the leading edge, the crest of the wave of the transformation. That's really all it takes. Now, to whatever degree your physical mind's belief system will allow you to believe that, is your process to work on if such a process is even needed. But I guarantee you, if you can truly, as you say, get into the absolute certainty of that statement, if you can truly understand that it is a true message from your higher self in physical mind terminology, and you truly pay attention to it, don't just get caught up in rote repetition until your voice becomes a droning thing you no longer hear. But when you truly say it in your own voice and truly listen to your own voice and pay attention to the vibration of your own voice saying it, you will hear the truth in it. And as soon as you really hear the truth in it, you will feel your entire physical being go, oh, I don't have to try so hard. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Only my state of being matters. Oh, joy. What is this feeling? What is this feeling? Oh my gosh, it's so foreign. Joy? Unbridled, unconditional love and joy. I'm tingling. You know, I like this sensation. I think I'll create more of it. Now, then. We love your paradoxical language. No wonder you're so confused. Now, then. Now or then? All right.